نبدأ. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله أما بعد. Earlier today in the first session, my talk was about the ta'yeen of the jama'ah, the ayat of the Quran and the authentic ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam commanded everybody here to be with the jama'ah. So it is fardu ain on everybody here to find out and to understand what is the jama'ah. It's not an issue where someone can come and say this is not important. It is the responsibility of everyone here to have a correct comprehension of what is that jama'ah that Allah commanded everybody here to be with, and what the Prophet told us you have to be with it and not against it, sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam. And that's because, ikhwani, people have different interpretations on the jama'ahs. And the jama'at that are actually present, they are cause of disunity amongst the Muslims. There are different jama'at of the turuq al-sufiyya. And when I mention these things, Allah knows that I'm not trying to take this as an opportunity to put people down. I'm against those people and I'm not that way, so I take this as an opportunity to make a cheap shot. No, I'm not doing that. But it's something that has to be explained to the people. Has to be explained. So if you're sitting in the audience and you disagree, that's okay. But when we disagree, let us present our evidences. Especially for you young people who, inshallah, the future to Islam, you guys have to come to know your religion, especially you people. Sometimes older people, they're just stuck in their ways and they don't want to change. Just like that. But in looking in the mustaqbal, inshallah azza wa jal, this masjid has a religious responsibility to develop a generation of Muslims. They are our amana and our necks, our responsibility. The days for cultural Islam are done, finished. Cultural Islam, and I don't mean this personally against anyone, cultural Islam is what we do in the UK for the last 40 years. They want to bring imams from Mirpur, Dadyal, from Bangladesh, from different places, and when he comes, he doesn't speak English. So the khutbah is in Urdu. The khutbah is in the Mirpuri language. The khutbah is in Arabic. The khutbah is in Somali. And the kid doesn't understand Arabic. And the kid doesn't understand Urdu. And the kid doesn't understand the Malvi Saab who's talking. So as a result of that, he comes to the masjid and he's switched off. He's not feeling what that man is talking about on the mimbar, telling the people, reading from a paper, and the streets of Baghdad have not ceased to have munkar in it. And the Khalifa Harun al-Rashid is upset with everyone. That kid doesn't know Harun al-Rashid, and that's not even the reality of what we're dealing with. So the problem that presents itself is the young brother, he goes on the internet and he finds someone speaking English. And that person is talking about Khalid ibn Walid. And he's talking about Abu Dujana. And he's talking about an issue that's important in Islam, and jihad, and Muslims defending themselves and what it used to be like. But he's talking about it in the wrong way. So the kid who doesn't have khibra, he doesn't have knowledge, he is affected by that. So the masjid was effectively partly responsible for turning him into an extremist and a radical individual, because the administration didn't understand, hey, we have to teach these kids correct Islam. Someone may sit there and say, hey man, you are attacking my father, my mother, my ajdad. I'm not attacking your people. I'm not attacking anyone here. I'm just telling you, our religion commanded us to be with the Jama'ah, the Quran and the Sunnah. And we explained to you people earlier that the Jama'ah only means two things. The Jama'ah that we have to be with is the Islamic state. The ideal situation is the one Khalifa and everyone is listening to him, and we're with the body of Muslims. In the absence of that Islamic state, and it is the way we find it right now, where the leader of Egypt is the leader of Egypt, and the leader of Tunis is the leader of Tunis, and the leader of Sudan is the leader of Sudan, and the leader of Somalia is the leader of Somalia, and on and on and on. We have to be with that group. We have to render our obedience to that imam, even if he's disobedient, because he's an imam over us, because we are the way we are. And as I mentioned earlier, no one here should sit down and look at the hukam of the Muslims as being criminals, being fusaq, mujrimeen, and we know our own reality. Everybody here knows his own reality. If you wanted Umar ibn al-Khattab to be the Khalifa over us, many of us are going to be hit in our heads by Umar because of the way we are, what we're doing. Here in this country, right here, illegal activity has become a part of our culture. Part of the culture, unfortunately, with the Muslims is illegal activity, meaning I don't have a right to get that welfare, but I falsify papers and documents in order to get more money. Someone may say, hey, Abu, be careful what you're saying. Don't be a rat. Anybody can be listening to you right now. This is not a problem that's exclusive to Muslims, but is a problem that is diametrically opposed to Islam. Then we told the people, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, inna al-khiyana wal-makr wal-khida' fin-nar. Being untrustworthy, playing tricks, breaking the amana, all of that is in the hellfire. Muslim has to be straight up and down like 6 o'clock. This is what it is. So the point is, if Umar was the Khalifa, some of us be hitting the head. Today we pray Salatul Fajr in this masjid, and we barely completed. We had the one row, and behind there was a little more people, a few more people. We're the people for Salatul Fajr. I know some of you can't come because it's far. The point is, we're going to have leaders who are similar to us. So we have to stick with the imam and the leader of the Muslims, as I'm going to show you, inshallah, and we showed that earlier today. And the second meaning of the jama'ah is being with the truth, even if you're by yourself. Even if you're by yourself. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, he told the people, al-jama'ah ma wafaq al-haq when kunta wahdik. The jama'ah is what is in harmony with the truth, even if you're by yourself. Abdullah ibn Mubarak, al-Imam Abdullah ibn Mubarak, he was Amirul Mu'mineen in hadith. Ishaq ibn Rahuya, Amirul Mu'mineen fil hadith. Both of them were asked, who is the jama'ah? What is the jama'ah? Abdullah ibn Mubarak began to say, he was bigger than al-Imam Ahmed. Abdullah ibn Mubarak said, the jama'ah is Abu Bakr and Umar. Abu Bakr and Umar. The day when the people apostated from Islam after the death of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Abu Bakr was the only one who said, I'm going to fight them fi sabilillah because they're not giving zakat. All of the companions were against him, all of them without any exception, and he stood firm. He was a jama'ah by himself on that day. When the Prophet died, people didn't know. Did he die? Did he not die? Umar, no one knew. Abu Bakr came and said, he is dead, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was a jama'ah. He was by himself. Abdullah ibn Mubarak went on. He said that the jama'ah, after that he started naming different men, just individuals. He said, Muhammad ibn Thabit is the jama'ah, was the jama'ah, as well as Amr ibn Waqid. The people said, but those people died. Those people died. Who is the jama'ah today? What is the jama'ah today? He said, Abu Hamza as-Sukkari, one of the imams of the Sunnah. He stood up strong for Islam and the Sunnah, and he spoke the truth. So we understand from that the jama'ah is not necessarily all of the people. They were complaining to Abdullah ibn Mas'ud about what was happening with the Khalifa at that time, Yazid and those people. Yazid used to delay the Salat. Salatul Jummah, he would delay it until Maghrib time. Maghrib time. So they went to Abdullah ibn Mas'ud to complain. They said, Ya ibn Mas'ud, Yazid and those guys, his governors, are doing this, they're doing that, they're delaying the Salah. What should we do? He said, the Prophet told us, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, sallu fi buyutikum وَاجْعَلُوا صَلَاتَكُمْ مَعَهُمْ subha. Pray the prayer when it comes in at the right time. Pray it at home. Pray dhuhr at its right time. And then come out for Maghrib and pray with Yazid and them. Because Yazid had his governors looking to see if you weren't there. Okay, Abu Nuh, we see he wasn't there for 3 or 4 salah. That means he is mu'tarad. He's against us. Go drag him and bring him here. So if you didn't show up, they took you as a person who was against the program. So pray in your house and then come out and it'll be sunnah prayer for you. So the people said to Abdullah bin Mas'ud, and for you students of knowledge, in terms of the minhaj of al-Islam and the correct aqeedah, out of all of those companions, Abdullah bin Mas'ud has the most advices. His advice are many more than all of the other companions because he was in Al-Kufa, where all of the fitna was, and all of the new groups and crazy ideas and philosophy was going on. So he had to address that stuff. Anyway, they said, Abdullah bin Mas'ud, what about the Jama'ah? What about the Jama'ah? If we pray in our house, we are not with the Jama'ah. We're not with the group of Muslims. He said, radiyallahu anhu, to the man who said that to him, ألا تعلم أن جمهور الجماعة تخالف الجماعة? Don't you know that the majority of the Jama'ah, the majority of the Muslims, they go against the Jama'ah? They said, what do you mean they go against the Jama'ah? He said, the Jama'ah is the truth, even if you happen to be by yourself. Even if you happen to be by yourself. Today, inshallah azawajal, we want to deal in a little bit more detail about the fiqh of something that came from today's discussion. The fiqh of al-i'tizal and al-infirad, because it came up today in the discussion. It's in the hadith of Hudhayfa ibn al-Yaman radiyallahu anhu, who said, كان الناس يسألون رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم عن الخير وكنت أسأله عن الشر مخافة أن يدركني فقلت يا رسول الله إنا كنا في جاهلية وشر فجاءنا الله بهذا الخير فهل بعد هذا الخير من شر؟ قال نعم. فقال عبد الله بن مسعود رضي الله عنه وهل بعد ذلك الشر من خير؟ قال نعم وفيه دخن. قال صلى الله عليه وسلم أو ابن مسعود وما دخنوه يا رسول الله؟ قال قوم يهدون بغير هدي تعرف منهم وتنكر. Up until this point, we'll bring you inside of the loop. Hudhayfa said that the people, the companions, they used to ask Rasulullah about the good things. Ya Rasulullah, how do I get to Jannah? Ya Rasulullah, what will cause Allah to love me? Ya Rasulullah, how do I get forgiven for my sins? Ya Rasulullah, what's the position? They would ask about the good things. He said, as for me, I used to ask about the evil things out of fear that it may hit me. So I said, Ya Rasulullah, we, the companions, were in Jahiliyyah and we were in evil. Killing our children, fighting, drinking, getting high, the racism that we were doing, all of that drama that the people had in Jahiliyyah. We were going crazy. The worst of it was we were making shirk, worshiping rocks, worshiping trees, worshiping all kind of nonsense, worshiping human beings. They used to worship their forefathers. Whatever their forefathers said and did, that was the law. That's how it is. And then Allah brought us this good of Islam, this good. He said, will there be evil after this good? The companions, we're on good. After this, will there be evil? The Nabi said, yes, there's going to be evil. After the inqirad of the asr of the companions, when their time, their era is done, going to be fitna. He said, and after that evil, will there be good? He said, yes, and it will have dakhan. It will have dakhan. It will be ambiguous. There's ambiguity. It's smoke. It's not clear. It's some good, but it's some problems. He said, what do you mean? It's going to be ambiguity. It's going to be cloudy, smoke. What do you mean by that? He said, during that time, there are going to be some people who seek guidance from other than my guidance. Muslims who want to be on the Sirat al-Mustaqim and they want to practice Islam, with other than my guidance and other than my way. Now, if the Nabi told us this in an authentic hadith, it means you have to be suspicious about people. Don't be a person who's so quick to give your intellect, your aqeedah, your religion to every Tom, Dick, and Harry, every Amr, Bakr, and Zayd who comes by and he screams on the microphone and you get hyped. Take it easy. Those of you who know the book of Al-Imam Al-Barbahari, Sharh al-Sunnah. Sharh al-Sunnah, it's been translated into English. That's a book you people should read. You young people should read that book. He said, beware of the people, especially during your time. Weigh what the people are saying. Al-Imam al-Shafi'i said, if you see a man walking on the water, don't believe it and don't believe him until you take all of his actions and all of his statements and superimpose what he's saying and doing with the book of Allah and the Sunnah. Someone can come here, Khwani, in this day and time technology, and they make all kind of things appear and disappear. And it's easy to follow charlatans, easy. How high a man screams, how animated he is not a dalil that what he's saying is the truth. You people know Louis Farrakhan? You people know Louis Farrakhan? Louis Farrakhan is an articulate man. Articulate. And if he started to talk about Islam, I saw with my own eyes, Arabs from Saudi Arabia, from Kuwait, from Qatar. Years ago when I first became a Muslim, he made Hajj, a kafir. He made Hajj. And he came back and he gave a lecture in Madison Square Garden. And he talked for about an hour. For about 15, 20 minutes, he talked about the 5 pillars of Islam. I was amazed. But then after that 15 minutes, he started going into Elijah Muhammad was Rasulullah to the black man, and Allah had a mother, and her name was Baby G, and the white man is created from a mad scientist named Yaqub, and the people left saying, MashaAllah, did you see all of those Muslims he gave dawah to? So the point is, Ikhwani, the Nabi said, yes. There are going to be some people looking for guidance, trying to be guided in other than my tariqah, in other than my sunnah. You'll know them, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, and you're going to make inkar. You're going to say, this is not right. This is not right. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, he was in his house, and the companion Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, he came in the Prophet's masjid, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Over there were 10 people sitting in a circle with someone in the middle. Over there, 10 people in the circle, another in the middle, another one, 10 circle, 10 circle, 10 in the circle, all over the masjid. The man in the middle was the Amir. Where did an Amir come from, those kind of halakat? He was the Amir. They all had 100 rocks in front of them. The Amir of each circle would say to the people surrounding him, take the rock and say Allahu Akbar 100 times. They would take the rock, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Say Alhamdulillah 100 times. Say La ilaha illallah 100 times. Abu Musa al-Ash'ari came in the masjid and he saw the situation. Dhikr of Allah in Jama'ah. Dhikr in the Prophet's masjid. He didn't say anything. He went to Abdullah ibn Mas'ud's house. The Prophet said, you're going to know them and you're going to make inkar. He went to Abdullah ibn Mas'ud and said, hey, Abu Abdurrahman, I saw something in the masjid and I saw good. But it's not from what I saw us doing during the time of the Nabi. He said, why didn't you say something to him? He said, because I wanted to see your opinion. I want to see your opinion. You're more knowledgeable. Abu Musa al-Ash'ari was from the ulama of the companions. But he respected. Also, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud was more knowledgeable. In the Muqaddimah of Sahih Muslim, our mother Aisha said, Umirna an nunazzil an-nas manaziluhum. We've been commanded to put people in their right places. You young people look around, you see these older people with beards and white and stuff like that. We have to put them a certain place. They have more haqq over us. We have to treat them like the general. You're private. That doesn't mean the haqq is always with them, but Islam put them above us. And we have to treat them like that. The administration, you have to treat them a certain way. Your mother, your father, you have to treat them a certain way. The ulama of al-Islam, they have to be treated a certain way. Every person who gets before the microphone is not an alim. He's not an alim. The scholar may not have the ability to give a khutbah that's mu'athira. It doesn't affect you. He's not even a good orator. But when it comes to fatwa, he is the man. But the way it is today, as long as the guy can make me feel good, speaks loud, this and that, he's articulate, the tarkeeb of his words and his sentences, they impress. So as a result of that, he's the mufti. And we go to him and we get fatwa about blood, about money, about the furuj, stuff that is heavy in the scale, heavy. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud went to the masjid. He looked at the situation and he said, oh, you people, hey, all you people, take those rocks and count your sins, because I guarantee you that you shall understand what you're doing here today. It is as if you're better than the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, the companions of the Prophet, they are here in al-Madinah mutawafirun. You want to know the religion? They're all around you. They're all around you. He said, look, the vessel of the Prophet, his vessels haven't even broken yet. He just died recently. He just died recently. And his clothes are still wet on the line, meaning he just died and look what you're doing. You want to know the religion? We know the religion. A man in the majlis said, Ya Abu Abdurrahman, ma aratna illa al-khair. We only wanted good. We only wanted good. Allah said in the Quran, Allah bi dhikrillahi tatmainna al-qulub. We only wanted good, the dhikr of Allah. He said, how many people want good, they don't reach it. Your niyyah of wanting good is not enough. You young people, it is not enough. I just want good. You have to go the right way. You have to go the right way. You know what they said about those people? They said, on the day of Nahrawan, the day that the companions fought against the Khawarij, one of the main groups to this day, when they came out during the time of Uthman, and they killed Uthman, and they killed Ali, and they killed Hussein. To this very day, as I speak in this sa'ah, the door hasn't closed. The door hasn't closed of the fitna of the Khawarij. Hasn't closed. The Khawarij are those people who will kill you when you disagree with them. And they claim Islam, Islam, Islam. They said, on the day that the companions, we fought these people, the ones who were in opposition to us were the ones who were in the masjid making that dhikr. And that's the way every innovation is. It starts off very small, pebbles, Allahu Akbar, and then it grows and grows and grows, and it becomes a sword. It grows to a person saying that the companions are kuffar. We're the ones on Islam. And the companions, you're kuffar. You don't know. You judge by other than what Allah revealed. Every innovation is like that. The Mawlid of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it started with a nice idea. Hey, why don't we take this day to celebrate and recognize and acknowledge what the Prophet did for us? So the king came and the king said, 400 years after the Prophet was here, after the Prophet was here, someone came up with that bright idea. That bright idea, it's like the rocks. Hey, let's acknowledge the Prophet and what he did for us. Okay, the king said, anyone who makes a nice poetry, I'm going to give you this much money, and I'm going to give the community this food and that food, and this halawa and this cake and this and that. So that's how it started. And then another group of people said, we have to do better than them. And another group said, better than them, better than them, better than them. For 200 years, it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And it took a whole different picture from the first day, what it came into existence for. And then some Muslims came, and the ulama said, we're going to stop this. And they stopped it in the 6th century. They stopped it. The Mawlid was stopped. And then they brought it back again. Now in the UK, the Mawlid is like Christmas. Christmas lights. You know these Christmas lights? That's what the Muslims do for the Mawlid. He doesn't pray, but he does all of that stuff. So the point is, every innovation, the nature of it starts small, then it becomes the religion. And the people will think, as Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said in another athar, He said to his students from the Tabi'in, Kayfa bikum idha labisatkum fitna. How is it going to be when the fitna comes and it surrounds you people? How is it going to be? How are you going to deal with that time? He said, during the time of the fitna, the youngster will walk and the older person will crawl. Meaning the youngster, he's the one who's talking. He's the one making decision. And the elder, experienced people, they're going to be put on the sidelines. He said, people will take it as the sunnah. To the point if something is changed, people say, the sunnah has been changed. And it was not even the sunnah. Anyway, Ikhwani, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, he said, Ya Rasulullah, what's that? He said, the people will be guided by other than my guidance. You're going to know and you're going to make inkar. He said, Ya Rasulullah, after that good, will that be evil? He said, yes, it's going to be evil. It's going to be evil. Going to be evil. What's the evil? He said, Bu'atun ila abwabi jahannam. Man ajabahum qadhafuhu fiha. There are going to be some callers, du'at, muallimun. They're going to be inviting people to the doors of the hellfire. Anyone who listens to them will be thrown in that hellfire. Ibn Mas'ud said, Ya Rasulullah, sifhum lana. Describe them to us. What do they look like? He said, hum min jildatina wa yatakallamuna bi alsinatina. They're like us. They look like us. And they speak our language. They're like us and they speak our language. There is a country on the face of the earth right now, still to this day. I gave the example of the people in Yemen, that man in the hospital in Yemen. The man in the hospital in Yemen who went in there with a gun and he started shooting the nurses and the people in Yemen in the hospital. He came walking down the corridor and everyone was nervous. Where are we going to go? What's going on? They didn't know. He walked very casually and he took a hand grenade, pulled out the pin and threw it. And the people tried to run, but it blew up and caught some of them. The nurse walks by and he blows her head off. Then another nurse splatters her noodles all over the wall. Goes outside. People are laying on the ground. He blasting people. He walks by people on the ground wounded, blasting them. And this is the karma of the Dawla of al-Islam. This is jihad. I said to myself, and I continue to say right now, I didn't see anything on the internet as disturbing as that aqliyah. I saw in Syria some lady, some little girl, her name was Aisha, little girl, a bomb blew up. She didn't get hurt, but the implosion of the bomb made her concussed. So they brought her in the hospital, and she was hysterical. She was saying to the doctor, Ya Ammi, I'm Aisha, and she was opening up her mouth because she couldn't hear. She was distraught. I looked at that thing, I said, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. That's like my daughter, Arwa, the way she was. Did you people see the Syrian man who thought he lost his son, and they came and brought his son, and he came down and found his son who he thought was gone? You see that clip? The man they brought his son, he thought his son was gone. When they gave him his son, anybody who has a child, you look at that, you say, Subhanallah. I thought my son was dead, little boy. The man was holding the son, asking, praising Allah. He couldn't even speak. It was disturbing what I saw from that thing in Yemen. And these are the people who we don't have enough understanding to know that the leader, you can't even say in this masjid the leader's name because it'll cause a fitna, and it shouldn't be any fitna. You go to Mombasa, Kenya. You know the matatu? That matatu, you ride the matatu in Mombasa. On the back of the little bus, you have pictures of people being praised who make fitna for the Muslims. And we don't know. This is a fitna. You can't even say it. Abdullah bin Mas'ud, he said, Haddithu nas ala qadr uqulihim. Aturiduhum an yukadhibu Allah wa rasulahu. Talk to the people in accordance to the level of the understanding. You want them to reject Allah and His Messenger. In another hadith, he said, Ma anta bimuhaddith qawmin hadithan lam yablaq uquluhum illa kana li ba'dihim fitna. Can't even mention the name because there's going to be some people upset. Upset because this person represents jihad in Islam. What jihad? What jihad and what Islam? What sunnah and what seerah will we watch it? They speak our language. Group of people graduate. They graduate from the university. They're the future medical students and doctors of our country, and we're in need of these people. Graduates. They graduate. The minister who is in charge of health, he was living in the West. He didn't have to go back to his country. He went back to his country, but because he represents the government, he doesn't represent every idea of the government, every policy of the government. He's trying to help his community. People want to establish the Khilafah. They set a bomb just to get him, to get back at the government, blow him up, and the kids who graduated, and the people who are there. And that's Islam. And that's Islam. This is the time of fitna, fitna. Fitna to the degree, I'm telling you, Ikhwani, the tasawwur, the way we understand Islam, is a problem. I hope I am not coming off as if I'm condescending. I'm better than you. All of us are engulfed in the fitna. Fitna, fitna. And the answer to the fitna is learning the religion, little by little. Someone asked me coming in here, hey, Abu, which one has the awwaliyah? Which one is more prioritized? Learning tajweed of the Quran or learning al-jarh wa ta'dil? That was a question I was asked coming in just now. My kufi said, you guys are laughing? My kufi said, how could someone ask that question? Is water wet? Is water wet? It's a rhetorical question. Su'al inkari, is water wet? One of the most difficult things to do is to explain what is clear. Tawdih al-wadihat. It's difficult. So he went on to say, they speak our language, they look like us. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud say, Ya Rasulullah. Hudhayfa say, Ya Rasulullah. ماذا تأمرني أن أدركني ذلك? If I'm living that time, what do you tell me to do? He said, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Talzam, Jama'at al-Muslimin wa imamahum. Stick to the Muslim Jama'at and their imam. Be with the imam of the Muslims and the Muslim community. He said, if they don't have a Jama'at and there's no imam, what should I do? The Prophet said, فَاعْتَزِلْ تِلْكَ الْفِرَقْ كُلَّهَا. Leave all of those groups alone. Leave them all. Al-i'tizal. Fa'tazil. Al-i'tizal. It means to leave people alone. Leave people alone. All of those groups. He said, and go and hang on to the tree. Stay on the tree by yourself until death comes to you. This is what we want to talk about, Ikhwani. We want to talk about the hukum of al-i'tizal. The Nabi told us, avoid all of those groups. How do we do that today? What is it talking about? It has some fiqh connected to it. Before I talk about that, though, I do want to give you an example. A darb with a method. Darbul amthal. The Quran has about 32 amthal. Darab Allahu mathalan lilladhina amanu imra'atu Nuh wa imra'atu Lut. And he gives the example. Many ayat are like that. Darab Allahu mathala. Kalimatan tayyibatan kashajaratin tayyiba. All of those amthal. So that people can understand what the message is. The sunnah has a lot. The Prophet said, my example and the example of you people is like the example of the Uryan, the Nadir al-Uryan, the naked warner. The naked warner in Jahiliyyah. He was the guy, it was his job. You go all the way over there on that mountain, you get on that mountain, and you look for the enemy. If you see the enemy, come off the mountain and take your clothes off and run through the city without any clothes, doing your clothes like this. And you come, and when you run and the people see you and you tell them the enemy, the community knows, oh, this is serious. This was what the Arabs used to do. Now, if you see this man running through the city like that, you know what time it is. You better get home and get out of that souk and get your people out of town. The Prophet said, my example is like him. I'm the naked warner. This is not a joke. He said, so some of the people, when they saw this naked warner, some of them went home and they took their time and they gathered their stuff together and they left with ease. No istijal. It was easy for them and they left. And there was another group of people who, they took their time. They said, oh, that guy is just cold. He's just calling wolf. He's just messing around. That guy is not serious. This thing is not that serious. And they went to sleep in their place. And the enemy came and decimated them. Decimated. He gave that as an example. The Arabs understood what he was talking about. I'll give you an example like that. I don't say that this is a hadith. This is my example. There were a group of people, ikhwani, a group of people, they had the aslaf, their salaf, their ajdad. In their village, there was a well, and they had some water in the well. The water was naqiyun, safi. It was pure, uncontaminated, undiluted, unpolluted. They used to drink from that water, and it made their bodies strong. Bidnillah. They used to take that water and they used to give it to their kids. And the purity and nutrients of the water made their children strong. They took that water and they did their irrigation with it on their plants. And the plants grew strong, fruit grew strong. They gave that water to the animals. The animals drank it and the animals were strong. So they were eating the animals and they were eating the vegetation, and it was strength on top of strength on top of strength. Their aslaf, their ajdad, told them, hey, you upcoming generation, the strength is in the water, it's pure. Iyakum wa iyakum. Don't pollute this water. And then they died. The next group of people, they held on to the water seriously, but a little less. And then the next generation, a little less, and then a little less, a little less. And then there came a group of them. They started throwing stuff in the water. They threw soiled Pampers in the water. They threw in the water dead animals. They threw in the water the food that went rotten in the house. They poured milk in the water. Excuse me. They threw sanitary towels in the water. Sanitary towels in the water. You know, in the hospital, they say biohazards, that thing that, you know, they take it some special place to burn it or something. You know what I'm talking about? They threw that in the water. Nuclear stuff in the water. Syringes that heroin addicts use, the heroin man, he takes that, HIV, threw it in the water. The water became polluted. Naturally, they have to drink the water, so they started drinking the water. It had the natural effect. They became sick. Their children became sick. They got married to each other. Their women gave children who were sick. Their animals sick. The vegetation, no good. Sick. Now the enemy said, we can deal with them now. Prior to that, the enemy said, no way. These people, radiallahu anhum, they love death more than we love life. But now, these people are sick. So from amongst this group, they say, hey guys, we got to get it together. We have to wake up. How are we going to deal with this threat? A group of them said, okay, we have an idea. Our Jama'ah, we say, let's go over here in the Zawiyah and just say Allah, 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 and the water's going to get well. We're going to defeat the enemy with the dhikr of Allah. Another group said, no, man, that don't make any sense. What are you talking about? I'm not going to do that. That doesn't work. Another group said, what we're going to do is we have al-wala wal-bara. We're going to fight those enemies. We're going to fight them. Yeah, but you're sick. You're sick. You're weak. They're going to get you. The third group said, no. You people are wrong and you people are wrong. You know what we need to do? We need to be like them. We need to be like the enemy. Look at their technology. Look at how they are. Those guys, look at the life that they have. Let's just give up everything that defines who we are. Let's give up our DNA, trade it in, and become like these people. Then there are a group of uqala, hukama, from amongst them. They said, no, no, no. You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. You know what we need to do, guys? We need to purify that water. We need to go back and get that water the way it was during the time of our aslaf. Look at how our ajdad were. Look how they were. And look how we are. The answer is not in none of this stuff from these jama'at. Dhikr of Allah is important. The jihad and the ghira and the rujula is important. That's important, no doubt. Being a person who recognizes the haqq for what it is. The kuffar have some good stuff that we can use. No doubt about that. We give and we take. All of that has some truth to it. But the real success and the nasr is going to come bi'idhnillah by getting back to the original source. Going back to the original source. A scholar of al-Islam, he is the muhaddith of our time. His name is Nasir ad-Din al-Albani. He's like any other scholar, any other human being. He gets it right and he gets it wrong. I don't go overboard and have ghulu and say we should make taqleed of him and everything he said was right. But he is a muhaddith who was the khadim of the sunnah, the nasir of the sunnah during this time. During this time. When he was in Asham giving dawah, some of these jama'at were against him. They were against him, took him as an enemy. Because why? He said, we have to purify the water. We have to do what's called a tasfiyah wa tarbiyah. A tasfiyah wa tarbiyah. We have to redevelop our situation, ourselves, our connection to Allah, our salat, how we are as people. Allah has blessed some people in this community. I mean, they have good akhlaq and they're really good, decent people. Some people are like that. But the vast majority of the people, we have to make jihad against ourselves, just in our behavior, our commitment, our understanding, what we're doing. And we have to clean up. We have to clean up how we're understanding things, how we're implementing things. So Allah's Nabi, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, told the people, part of the tasfiyah, part of the tarbiyah, is when stuff is going on, as this hadith of Abdullah bin Mas'ud clearly, or Al-Hudayfa, it clearly suggests sometimes you have to make i'tizal. You have to leave the people. You have to leave the people. But when is the right time to leave the people? When is the right time? Al-i'tizal, ikhwani, leaving the people and secluding yourself, it is from Islam, like this hadith suggests and other hadith. But the Muslim is an individual who this religion tells us to mix with the people. The Prophet, he said to everybody here, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, La khayra fi man la ya'laf wa la yu'laf. There's no good in the one who he doesn't accommodate, he doesn't mix with the people. He's not sociable, nor does he accommodate them when they're trying to be sociable. There's no good in him. There's no good in him. He said, Al-mu'min alladhi yukhalitu an-nas wa yasbir ala adahum khayru min al-mu'min alladhi la yukhalitu an-nas wa la yasbiru ala adahum. The believer who mixes with the people and he has sabr with what he sees from them that he doesn't like, what he hears from them that he doesn't like. He's better than the believer who doesn't mix with them and he's not patient. There are always going to be problems when we mix with each other. Always. Even the husband and the wife. When the husband and the wife come together, you can't be by yourself. When you get married, the husband has to be patient with what he sees from the wife. The wife has to be patient with what she sees from the husband. Can't just get divorced like that. It's a situation where you have to be patient with your children, with your relatives, with your neighbors, in the masjid. This is how it is. Some people say, man, I just don't want to deal with the people. I just don't want to deal with the people. And there is a time for that. There is a time for not dealing with the people. The only way the person can determine when is the correct time to do it is based on knowledge. Look at these ayat from the Quran. A few ayat. This was a practice of the people of the past. Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned in Surah Dukhan about Musa. وَإِن لَمْ تُؤْمِنُوا لِي فَاعْتَزِلُونِي. Musa said to his people, if you don't believe in my da'wah and what I'm calling to, then get away from me. And he make i'tizal. You go your way and I go my way. That was in the religion of Musa. Another ayat in the Quran is Surah Maryam. Allah Ta'ala said, فَلَمَّا اعْتَزَلَهُمْ وَمَا يَعْبُدُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ وَهَبْنَا لَهُ إِسْحَاقَ وَيَعْقُوبَ وَكُلًّا جَعَلْنَا نَبِيًّا. Ibrahim, he left his people. He was giving them dawah, giving them dawah, giving them dawah. They gave him a hard time, tried to put him in a fire, tried to burn him up. He's giving them dawah, giving them dawah. He can't make any progress with them. They're giving him a problem for his dawah spreading. No benefit. He's not getting benefit from them. He's not giving them benefit. Allah said, he left them. He separated himself from them. He made i'tizal. At that point when he left them, Allah blessed him with Ishaq and Yaqub, and he made both of them prophets. So, Ibrahim made i'tizal. He made i'tizal. Another example of that, Ikhwani, is in Surah Al-Kahf. Surah Al-Kahf. Those young boys. وَإِذَا اعْتَزَلْتُمُوهُمْ وَمَا يَعْبُدُونَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ فَأْوُوا إِلَى الْكَهْفِ. When they was trying to be with them and the people were worshiping other than Allah, those young men, they separated themselves from the people. So it's something that happened with the people of the past. Sometimes the Muslim, it is wajib for him to separate himself from the people. Sometimes it's wajib. And we have in our religion what establishes that. Allah Ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, إِذَا رَأَيْتَ الَّذِينَ يَخُوضُونَ فِي آيَاتِنَا فَأَعْرِضْ عَنْهُمْ حَتَّى يَخُوضُوا فِي حَدِيثٍ غَيْرِهِ. If you see those people falling into our ayat, making fun and jest about the religion, Allah said, turn away from them until they change their tune, until they change that speech. But now the question is, when do we make i'tizal? Some of the young people, some of us, we get problems from our relatives, we get problems from people, and as a result of that, we cut everybody off. In Islam, one thing I've said in this masjid over and over again, and I continue to say it, we should not be apologetic, and we should not be on the defensive, and we should not be on the back leg, and we should not be telling these people we're sorry for being here. In that way of a daf, we're here, and we're not going anywhere. But we have to be able to say, but we're bringing something to the table. If all of the Muslims, if all of the ethnic people got out of this country and white people were to say, this is our country, get out. Okay, if we get out, your country is going to fall down because we constitute an integral fabric of this society. And no one but the ignorant person says something like that, our country, meaning just one group of people. This is a dawah in the UK. Dawah in the UK. Your wife, she wears jilbab, black, brown, blue. She's walking down the street. The white lady would say to your wife, she's a revert from Jamaica. The white lady would say, go back to Iran. Go back to Iran with them clothes on. She's not from Iran. She's from Jamaica. But that's in the lady's mind. That's in the lady's mind. This is our country. And they have political groups that support that stuff. We don't apologize. But we have to bring something to the table. We don't want all of our kids, these young people, all of you can't go to Medina, all of you can't go to Mecca, all of you cannot study Islam in the university over there. Some of you, you have to get secular degrees. Some of you have to do other things. But where's the responsibility lie? In the community. What are we doing about it? I mean, look at our situation. In any given masjid in this city, like in Birmingham, like in London, in any given masjid, the politics are so deep and so complicated that addressing the issues that are confronting us is almost impossible. We have to pick our battles. Not to mention cooperating with other masajid and other communities. It's a sad state of affairs, the reality of our religion, the reality of our ummah, our condition. So now, what I want to share with you right now is, first of all, sometimes everybody out there, cutting off from the people sometimes is mustahab. It's highly recommended that you do it. Everybody has a religious responsibility to look at who's around you and what's going on with you. And sometimes you have to cut people off for your own good. It's mustahab to separate from people. But the people who do that are people who know their religion, like the ulama, people who have aql, people have the you know, high determination, ulu al-himma. Because if you mess with people a lot, you're not going to get a lot done. People will waste your time. Everybody here has to choose a time when he's going to remember Allah on his own, He's going to reflect on his situation, his religion, his future, his dunya. The Nabi, he used to do that, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, for the i'tikaf. He used to do that when he used to make salat at the nighttime. He would make the salat at the nighttime and he would pray by himself, having munajat with Allah. Just him and Allah. Just him and Allah. That's from the religion. That's from his sunnah. That's from it. Who does that today? Who is the individual that just takes the time out and say, hey, Beni Adam, I have to really get away and really just think about my situation. I have to evaluate myself and make muhasaba. Am I at the point right now where I expect it to be? And if I'm not, let me think of a game plan about how I'm going to get there, as opposed to living every day like a robot, just in the rat race, and I never ever take time out to make dhikr of Allah, not even after prayer. In the place where it's easy, like you make salat, I can't get through the adhkar because they're not a part of who I am. The Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and the religion is not asking you to do everything, but part of what is our responsibility is to do an i'tizal and to slow down a little bit and take your time to evaluate your thing. There is also an i'tizal that is haram. It is the i'tizal of the Turq al-Sufiya. And there's a great scholar in Islam, Al-Imam Abu Hamid al-Ghazali. Ghazali was a scholar, but he was a scholar who, we can't take everything that he said. In his book, Kitab Ihya Ulum ad-Din, and that book is stuff that is not from our religion. It's an important book, but everybody can't read it. It's a book that's been criticized. And he mentioned in there Al-Uzla, and in that, he talked about the way the Jama'at made Al-I'tizal, where Sufi people go away and they don't talk, and they don't eat, and they don't go to Jum'ah, and they don't go to the Salat in the Masjid, and they don't visit the sick, and they don't do the things that are the everyday responsibilities that the Muslims have to do when we have ihtikak with each other. Every day there are things you have to do when you meet the people. Every day. Their thing was, we have to get away from the dunya. Dunya is a fitna. So they came up with some craziness. The Prophet saw a man, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, mu'tazil. He was over there, away from the people, by himself. He was standing up in the sun. He said to the people, who is that man way over there? Who is that? They say, Ya Rasulullah, that's Abu Israel. He took an oath to Allah Azza wa Jal. He's not going to talk to anybody. He's going to stand up in the sun. He won't sit down. And he's going to fast all day. He's going to separate himself from the people, from the Jama'at. He won't talk to anybody. He's going to fast all day. He's going to stand up in the sun and he won't sit down. The Prophet says, someone go over there and tell that man, tell him to sit down and tell him to get in the shade and tell him to speak and tell him to continue doing his fast. The fasting is from Islam. That's the only thing that he was doing that's from the religion. So he didn't stop him. Tell him to keep fasting. As for not giving salams, you have to give salams. You have to make an amr bil ma'ruf and nahy anil munkar. You have to speak out. You have to do that. And standing up and making adab of yourself like that in the sun is not the religion. What about one of the paths, the divergent paths? What about the path of hating yourself until the blood comes out? Is that from our religion? Hating yourself and hitting yourself, and to the people it's a sign and an indication that you are sincere. The more the blood, the deeper the cut, the more the proof you have ikhlas. That's what our religion came to. And then the jama'at I'm talking about. The jama'at of siyasa. The political groups. Someone will come and say, you know those people who hit themselves like that and who curse the companions and who say Jibril should have gave the Quran to Ali and not Muhammad and all of that stuff that they say? The political groups say, hey, let's make the taqreeb between us and between them. Let's get close to them. because we're one ummah. So we have to be together. Whereas anyone in his right mind knows it's not possible. It is impossible to get close to that type of aqeedah. What are you talking about? But that's what politics do. And that's why I say to all of you here in this masjid, everybody here, my talk is not designed to take cheap shots at any group. But these groups, as Allah mentioned in the Quran about them, kullu hizbin bima ladayhim farihun, every group is happy with it, what it has, and it doesn't want to listen to what the other group has. And that's not our religion. That's not our religion. That is not our religion. Our religion is what is in the best interest of the community, not your group. What is in the best interest of moving Islam forward. I think it's just what my group is saying, and I'm not ready to listen to anyone else. And that's how everybody else exists, and as a result of that, we're living in a state of fawda. So that type of i'tizal is not permissible. The i'tizal where the person doesn't make salat, he doesn't mix with the people, he doesn't go out. They say, Ya Rasulullah, ayyu nas afdal, who's the best person, Ya Rasulullah? He mentioned a man. He's always ready. As soon as he hears the call for jihad, he's ready to get on his horse with his weapons and he's ready to go. Which jihad? The jihad that has fiqh. The jihad has its perfect time, its place, its people. Not my determination and understanding of jihad, your determination, not like that. And then he mentioned the second point, the second man, and this is the shahid. He said, the best person is a man who is away from the people. He's in one of the shi'ab, in one of the roadways, away from the people. But when the time for salat comes, he established the salat, he gives the zakat, and he protects the people from his evil. Iqamat al-salah is praying in the masjid, and it's Imam al-Bukhari brought. Giving zakat, he has to mix with the people to give zakat. This thing about being away, that's not our religion. Like the monks and the priests go in the monastery. The monks and the priests, they go in the monastery, and the lady, she says, the nun, she says, I'm going to get married to God. So she dedicates her life to Jesus Christ, and she stays in the monastery for 20 years, 25 years, without getting married. That's not our religion. That's not the religion of Islam. You have to get married, you have to mix with the people, you have to bring your piece of the puzzle to the table, we have to do what we need to be doing, and so forth and so on. There are some benefits from this thing and some harms from it as well. We don't want to go into all of that with the 3 minutes that we have left, but there are some benefits of al-i'tizal that should be mentioned. When's the last time you ever heard someone reminding you of, hey, you need to spend some time by yourself, Abdullah, and think about your situation? That's from Islam. When did someone advise you with that? That there is fiqh in this issue, because there's a need for it. From the benefit of al-i'tizal, and there are a lot of benefits, a lot. But one of the main benefits is you stop yourself from falling into sin. Because most of the people, when we hook up with them, we're making ghiba, we're doing riyah, people are having jealousy for you, the evil eye, magic, all kinds of stuff is going on. Most of the people are wasting your time. Most of the people are wasting your time. And we're wasting people's time. So the person has to look, who's benefiting me? What am I talking about? What am I doing? It's no benefit. And every day is like that, every day. Before the person knows what he's doing is too late. He didn't make any muhasaba. From the benefits of al-i'tizal is when you avoid people, you get protected from the person who's ahmaq. The person who's thaqil. There's that individual in our community, he's heavy, man, heavy on your shoulder. People who are heavy, they don't know what they're doing. He says to you, hey, could I, he's visiting, you say, hey, can I go to the toilet? Yeah, go to the toilet. Go up there, upstairs, make a left. It's the door on the left. And you have guests downstairs, he goes upstairs, and he's taking a long time. And you're with your guests. You don't know what's going on. You go to see what happened to that guy. He's not in the toilet. He's on your bed, just laying down on your bed. Can you imagine seeing somebody lying on your bedroom, your bed? You say, what are you doing? He said, the door was open, I saw the bed, and I just couldn't resist. I said, man, you on my bed, man. That's ahmaq. Some people are like that. They're heavy, heavy, heavy. Some people are like that. You're laughing. I think some of you know what I'm talking about. There's that individual who's heavy. You want to get away quickly. When you make i'tizal from people, you get that benefit. And there are many benefits, but my time is up. And there's some harm from al-i'tizal. One of the biggest harms is you don't learn your religion. You can't make i'tizal and learn your religion. You're by yourself, and you're trying to learn by yourself? No, not like that. How are you going to learn the tajweed of the Quran if you don't go to the muallim in the masjid or wherever he happens to be, in the madras, in the duksi? You have to do that. Also, Allah didn't create us to be people who are by ourselves. You need to have al-istitnas wa inas. You have to have someone to socialize with. You have to have someone to talk to take out of your mind, I need somebody I just need to be able to drink coffee and tea with. That's why it's important you get married to the right girl, to the right sister. You drink tea with her, and you just cool out, and you just talk to your wife, and you just relax like that. Because that guy who doesn't have that, the lady who doesn't have that, the life is adhab. It is adhab. Another problem, ikhwani, another problem. If you don't have al-i'tizal, one of the problems that it also creates is that, as the Nabi said, khayrukum anfa'akum lin-nas. The best of you is the one who brings the most benefit to the people. You lose out on that opportunity. You lose out about getting the iktisab of other people's akhlaq. If you avoid people, you won't benefit from their experience. When I was in Al-Medina, African-American, revert Muslim, my people, West Africans, we are loud people, naturally, and animated in the way we speak. Have you people seen Okasha, the way he talks? That's my people. I read a book, it was called Why Do Black People Tend to Shout? It's a really important book. All of the stuff they did to us. But anyway. I went to Al-Medina as an African-American revert. I'm in Medina. I stuck with the Arabs so that my language can develop. Because if I'm with the Westerners, the English-speaking people, I'm not going to develop the way I want to. But you want to be understood. So it's natural to be with the people who speak your language. I was with many of the Saudi Arabians, especially. I traveled all over their country. I learned the Arabs from Yemen and Saudi Arabia, like it who like it, hate it who hate it, they had karam. Sudanese, they had karam. They were generous. Karam is our generosity. The Prophet said, whoever believes in Allah on the last day, then let him be generous to his guest. That's in our religion. But the Arabs, they had that. Most Arabs had that, especially in the Khalij. But the Yemenis, though, because they don't have that money. Karam is really determined when you don't have a lot, but you still are willing to give. Sudanese, stuff like that. So those brothers that I was with, in my first year I stayed on the campus, they used to come and they used to say, Abu, let's go to the matam. We're going to have this, we're going to have this. And I would go to them. When it was time to pay, they would fight each other to pay. And I was watching. No problem, go and pay, sir. But then something inside of me said, hey, come on. You can't always do that. That's istiglal. You're taking advantage. So I would say, without being that aggressive, because I'm not fighting you to pay. Hey, guys, today I'm going to pay. They said, no, you're from America. You're our brother. I've been here about 8 months. No problem. I went to the American students. Yeah, Khwani, let's eat. Let's go out and eat. And then they came in, hey, I said, I'm going to pay. They said, okay, go ahead and pay. Go ahead and pay, Abu. I paid. Yeah, Khwani, let's go out and eat. I go wash my hands. I paid. Don't want anybody to know when we go out and they say, oh, mashallah, Abu, you paid. I paid. Those guys started calling me, Abu, let's go out and eat. I said, all right, who's going to pay? We got that from the Arabs, Ikhwani. I'm Abu Usamah, and many brothers from amongst you have a kunya. That came from those Arabs. It's from the Sunnah, but it was something the Arabs were doing. So you find a lot of brothers who went over there, they came back with kunyas. And the guy is known, you don't even know his name. It's Khalifa. You don't even know. That was the Arabs. The jealousy for the wife. The ghira for the wife. Some of those Saudi Arabians, they didn't have any deen. Some of them are racist. They don't know anything about the religion. They're just as ignorant as everybody else. They're ignorant. And whoever thinks that a Salafiyya is synonymous with Saudi Arabia, well, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? But one thing that they had that is a positive aspect in their society was those women are dressed. Masturat. It's like the Somali community. And I said this before, not mujamala. In the UK, you look at the dress of the Muslim woman in the UK, Somali women are best, generally speaking. That doesn't mean that you don't find some reverts who are similar, that you don't find some Arabs, but generally. Now, there's some Somali ladies who don't wear any hijab at all. No, not at all. But in the Khalij, there are women in the back. How many children do you have? The guy said, I have 4 sons. He has 3 daughters as well, but he just said 4 sons. That's how it is. And we developed that thing. That was from a result of mixing with the Arabs, mixing with those Gulf state Arabs. Now, some of you just haters on them guys. You just hate like that. I say, don't be a hater like that. Every group of people have a special thing. The point that I'm making here is, when you make al-i'tizal and you cut people off, one of the harms of it, from the afat of it, is that you don't benefit from the experience of others. And if you want to grow and develop, you have to mix with the people and experience from the people. Sorry for going more than the time, Ikhwani. Let us go back to the pure water, Ikhwani, the pure well that the Salaf were upon, radiyallahu anhum ajma'een, at-tasfiyah wa-tarbiyah. Clean up the water, clean up the well. And in terms of our behavior, clean up the behavior. No jealousy, no haqd, no hasad, no ghiba, no namima, no kadhib, no kasal, no dhulm, no fisq. All of this stuff that is just a part of who we are. We're going to leave this place. We're going to go to our hotel room. We're going to go back home. And it's going to be business as usual with the Muslim community. Can't we see the water is polluted? And Allah is not going to change the condition of the people today, change the condition of their own situation. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك واشهد ان لا اله الا انت استغفرك واتوب اليك. السلام عليكم ورحمه الله وبركاته.
Alaykum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Give me 1 second, brothers, inshallah. Before you leave, I know everybody's tired. And I know, like,